Hi, I'm Dr. Sarah Colby from Clock Tower Chiropractic and Massage. Kayla and I are making this video so that we can help people have less shoulder and neck tension while they're at home on the computers during this pandemic. 90% of the population has a forward head position, which is one of the main things that causes neck and shoulder tension. And so when you have a forward head position, it's like holding your head up off center. And so the muscles strain here. I could hold a bowling ball here for a very long time, but if I had to hold a bowling ball here, it would strain the muscles of my arm. The same thing goes for your neck and shoulders. If your head is forward, it's like holding a bowling ball up. The second component that makes neck pain happen is a flat neck. So if your head is forward, that's one thing, but looking down and having your head down and reducing your neck curve also creates a lot of pain, especially if you're turning and looking and going back and you're doing this for long periods of time. You want to consider getting a monitor stand, and we'll talk about that in a second. But the main thing that we're going to do here is figure out how to get our head and shoulders to stay back and open. The first thing that you want to do when you sit is to make sure that your pelvis is back against the chair. If you watch my head, you can see it go forward while my pelvis is resting backward. But if my pelvis is upright, my head stays backward. So you want to scoot yourself way back into that chair so you have really good anterior pelvic tilt and keeps your head forward or backward. The next thing is you want to make sure that you're sitting as close to the computer as you can and your keyboard and getting very good support in your mid-back. If I just sit back here, you can see my head go forward and I lose that curve in my neck naturally. So this chair is not forward enough for me. It has a tilt, but I'm not going to do that now. We'll do that in the next video. Your elbow and your shoulder should be directly hanging down, and you want to be as close as you can. There should be a 90-degree angle right here, and your arms are resting. This table is a little too high for me, but you'll see when I lower it down, then my armrests are in the way. So ideally I'd take off the armrest here so that I can be as close to this keyboard as possible with my palms resting on the palm rest. The next thing would be to look at where your papers are. If you're using documents, this is a $5 or $3 piece of equipment from IKEA. They also have bigger document holders. They can hold big files or books, and you can use those to get your papers up. Your palms then should be resting on the palm rest. You don't want to rest your wrists on a palm rest because that can create carpal tunnel. You do want to have a palm rest because it takes the weight of your arm off of your shoulder. If you're using a keyboard out here and your hands are here, my hand might weigh 1 pound to my shoulder, but my hand might weigh 1 pound, but to my shoulder it weighs about 30 pounds when it's out here. So bringing your arms in takes the weight off of your shoulders. Then the next thing to think about is your mouse. Ideally, I don't use much of a 10 key. I would have a smaller keyboard so that I could bring my mouse right in here. This is the proper position for a mouse instead of having it be here. Mice also often like to migrate forward over time, and so taping something down in front of it so it doesn't migrate forward is really important. The main problem with having a mouse that rotates forward is that you get a lot of then rotation with your shoulder. It can lead to pain in the left shoulder because whenever you reach forward with the right arm, it creates tension on the left side. The left side is trying to help you create that rotation, and I see a lot of patients that end up having nerve pinching from this rotation that's happening right through here. You'll also tend to get pain in the left lower mid back if you use that mouse like this and lean onto it this side, because you're creating a rotation and backward position of the left shoulder. So ideally that mouse should be nice and close and to you right through here. If you're using a laptop, often you're using a trackpad. A trackpad is quite problematic for people because then you're crossing midline with your arm. Instead of having your shoulder be here, it creates a lot of rotation and tension in through here. And so this is one of the cheapest ergonomic solutions you can get, is to get a $10 or $15 mouse. The next cheapest option is to get a mouse and keyboard together and hook it into your laptop, so that what you can then do is make the monitor the correct height for your eyes and have a separate keyboard mouse setup. The monitor, if you have a separate one or you're using your laptop, the top of it should really be about at eye level, and it should be directly in front of you. Many people use two monitors. If you're using two monitors, you want to have those monitors side by side and face the monitor that you're using. You want to have cockpit space underneath your desk, so that if you're using one monitor, your chair actually turns. If the armrests are in the way and you're doing this part of the day and this part of the day, it also creates trouble. So you want to be facing your monitor. Greater than 15 degrees off center with head rotation is considered high stress. And so for long periods of time, you want to make sure you're facing that monitor. The monitor should be about arm widths away for most people who have normal eyesight. If you don't have normal eyesight and you're using bifocals, it can also create trouble in that then you're trying to look at the monitor here, and it causes a lot of extension here and pain in the neck in this position. Getting computer glasses that are specific to the right distance away is a very good solution for eye strain. Looking up or down creates tension in through here. If you put your fingers behind your skull and you feel these muscles and just look up and look down, you'll feel these muscles contract. So making sure that your eyes are at a comfortable position is very helpful. So we talked about that. We talked about the palm rest, resting right through here. If you are having arm trouble, the proper resting and relaxed position for the arms is like this. So when you're asking your arms to flatten all the way into rotation through here, you're asking these muscles in through here to work. So if you're having pain in your arms, you might consider getting an ergonomic keyboard. And an ergonomic keyboard allows your arms to rotate out. For some people with shoulder problems, getting a split keyboard that also allows you to do this can be helpful. You want to watch that you do not have the little legs flipped up on the keyboard, because when you have them flipped up, then what you're asking your hands to do is extend even farther than what they're naturally wanting to do. So if you have these things flipped down, then you're in the right position through here and not having to extend. When you extend, it creates tension in through here and can lead to tennis elbow problems. Did I talk about the 10 key? Getting a smaller size keyboard, if you're not using a 10 key, allows your mouse to be in the right position. I think I did mention that. So we talked about laptops, and standing, of course, is better than sitting. Getting up and down is helpful. If you have any questions about your specific setup, feel free to send me a picture of you sitting at your desk, and I'd be happy to call you and give you any advice. And we'll do another video for the low back and hip conditions as well.